How's it going? So I'm here with my brother's S1000RR. This is a 2010 model. It's the one that has the kind of evil monocle look on the front. I'll show you in a second. It's a beautiful bike. It's a very capable bike. It's an insane bike. I describe this bike as an all-you-can-eat buffet. As in, you can come in, and if you want to eat everything, this bike will give you everything. If you just want to have a few little bites, this bike can give you a few little bites as well. However, it is an expensive buffet. You do have to pay, of course, for an expensive bike. Now, in terms of the performance, very, very affordable, but it is a dearer bike for what it is compared to something like, you know, an older VFR like I have here. This bike, I think at the moment he's got it up for sale for about €8,500, which, you know, for a toy is a lot of money. And why do I call it a toy? Couldn't you daily drive it? Yes, you could daily drive this bike, but I wouldn't recommend it. Let's take a look at how the position is. So I'm here, 5'11". I've got my heel right where it would be. It's got quite an angle here. And if you're actually riding it, your neck is quite bent. So if you're on a long spin, you're going to find your neck getting a little bit sore towards the end of the spin. However, you can get used to it. Like anything, you can get used to it. I just wouldn't say it's the most comfortable long distance daily driving kind of bike. Another thing that I also found with it is that its fuel economy isn't great, of course. You know, you've got 4 cylinders driving a 200 horsepower engine. It's going to use a lot of fuel, so it does. You get about 200 kilometers from a tank, and the tank is a little bit smaller than a tank. So again, for a touring machine or a commuting machine, I wouldn't say, it can be surpassed. Of course you can do worse, but it can be surpassed in those aspects. If you really wanted, you could put a pair of bar risers on it. Why would you do that? This is a racing machine. This is as close as you can get to a MotoGP bike on the road. That's the way I would look at it. You know, unless you're going to modify another bike, it's as close as you can get. And one of the things that you'll notice about it is that it's very, very track focused. Beautiful lines going along the back of it. Like this kind of like evil villain, kind of like Batarang is what I think when I look at that rear end of the bike. My brother's modified it a little bit. He's put a tail tidy on it, so he just removed the rear mudguard, which I think makes the rear wheel just kind of pop out, and it's just absolutely class in my opinion. The bike has a good ride quality. Some people say you get onto a bike like this, you're going to expect it to be like racketing your bones. Yes, it is less comfortable than, for example, you know, a touring bike. Of course it is, but it's not something horrible. You know, you could ride it for longer periods. The main thing that would get you is your neck and your wrists from the position that you're in. As you can see at the front, it's got those evil monocles. I really like the look of this bike. It's just so sinister and powerful. It's got beautiful Brembo brakes, 2 discs on the front and 1 disc on the rear, and the brakes are absolutely fantastic. You can even see it says S1000RR on the radiator inside there. It's got quite easy to put these crash bars on it. Apparently they stop the bike flipping if you drop it. I don't know, I wouldn't want to put my hope in them. The main thing is that you just never drop this bike. Of course, if you get a bike like this, you shouldn't drop it. The fairing stops here. You know, this whole area is open. This whole area is open, which you wouldn't find on many other bikes. They've left it open because, again, it's about saving weight. You can see there's like plastic parts here on the metal, and it kind of keeps it kind of feeling really, really track focused. You've got a lap timer, and you've got a stopwatch on the bike. You've got 3 different modes, including rain mode. And as far as I know, rain mode takes it to 130 horsepower. Oh my God, like, you know, most cars don't have 130 horsepower, and this weighs 200 kilograms, and its low powered mode is 130 horsepower. As you can see, it's like thunder. And when you're riding this bike, you are conspicuous. You will stand out because of the noise that it makes, because of the beauty of it. Everywhere you go, people will look at you. And if that's something that you want, amazing. You couldn't do better. Look at the smoke coming off the exhaust. Isn't that awesome? If that's what you want, you couldn't do better. But if you are a kind of person who likes to kind of blend in a bit more, I'd probably be more like that. You'd probably want a less out there bike. This has got the upgraded Akrapovic, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, exhaust system. It's not just a can, it's a full system that goes into the engine. So it's that's what gets that incredible sound. It also lowers the weight, and apparently the original owner paid a pretty penny to get that installed when it was bought. You can put a rear passenger on this bike. I know, it's mental, but you can do it. If you want to carry your mates or your girlfriend on the back of your S1000RR, you can do it. You know, you can. It's an option that's given to you. And what is this? Well, I didn't know what it was when I first got it. My brother said it's a racing feature to stop the front brake being pulled while you're riding. If you crash or anything, it's not going to pull the front brake. It kind of keeps it away from any kind of impact, which means you've got slightly more control. I don't know. If that's what you're relying on, you're in a dangerous place already. You know, unless you're actually like a professional race driver, you're not going to get the value out of this bike on the road. Of course, you can, but how long will you last? That's the question. You know, you can be an old rider or a bold rider, but you won't be both. That's what people say, and I think it's a pretty good phrase. And this bike is the kind of bike that'll stop you from being an old rider if you use its potential on the road. Because its potential is limitless. As I said, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. You can just pull the throttle, and this bike will go from being 30 kilometers an hour to being 150 kilometers an hour to being 200 kilometers an hour, and it can go right up, as far as I know, up to 300 kilometers an hour. And, you know, it can do that in a matter of seconds, and it can do that without you even thinking. You can be like, I want to go a bit faster, and suddenly you're going double the legal speed limit. That's what this bike is like. And if that's something that you want, well, you know, you can't do any better than this. It's a fantastic bike, and for the money, the performance that you get is incredible. So as far as I know, this bike gets less than 3 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. And that is something that you wouldn't get from even some of the more modern Ferraris. And, you know, you're talking 200 grand for a Ferrari at least. So, like, this is for €8,500. It's an absolute bargain for the performance that you get. And I think it's a beautiful, beautiful bike.